Unlocking the secrets of Mount Sinai. Journey with us through the sands of time as we unveil a hidden chapter in biblical history. Beyond the familiar narrative lies an ancient temple laboratory rediscovered by explorers, challenging long-standing beliefs about Moses and the sacred mountain. Join us in unraveling the mysteries of Gebel Musa, Mount Serabit, and the enigmatic white powder that defies explanation. Are we on the brink of rewriting history? Let's explore the untold revelations that shook the very foundations of biblical interpretation. Sinai's untold secrets. According to the biblical account, Moses and the Israelites ultimately arrive at the Holy Mountain, believed to be the same mountain where Moses encountered Jehovah and witnessed the burning bush. It is at this point that the location is referred to as Mount Sinai, having been previously identified as Mount Horeb, and later as Mount Horeb again. Why the confusion? This has led to speculation that there were two sacred mountains. It is crucial to recognize that until the 4th century AD, no specific mountain was identified as Mount Sinai. It is undeniable that the mountains in the Sinai Peninsula are extensive, and the southern peak, popularly known as Mount Sinai, was named by Greek Christian monks early 1700 years after the time of Moses. The mountain, now called Gebel Musa, Mount of Moses, was not the sacred Mount Horeb mentioned in the Bible. Incontrovertibly, Horeb was the peak now called Mount Serabit. This mountain, which rises more than 2,600 feet above sea level, is located on the way to Gebel Musa in a region called Serabit el-Qadim. This region was known for its turquoise mines, and it is also the site of the most significant biblical discovery ever made. However, the explorers did not recognize its true significance at the time. Unfortunately, it has not received much publicity since. Why? The Memorandum and Articles of Association of the Egypt Exploration Fund expressly stated that surveys and excavations would only be approved if they upheld the Bible narrative. And this discovery did not. At least, it did not uphold the church's interpretation and teaching of the narrative. Sinai has always been regarded as a part of Egypt, devoid of any military garrison or resident governor. It was during the 18th dynasty that the peninsula came under the control of two officials, the royal chancellor and the royal messenger in foreign lands. The royal messenger Nebi was also the mayor and troop commander of Zaru, where the Aten cult flourished after Akhenaten's abdication during the reigns of Ai and Tutankhamun. The royal chancellor position had been hereditary in the Hyksos family of Pa-Nehas since the reign of Amenhotep III, and Akhenaten had appointed a descendant named Pa-Nahasi as the governor of Sinai. It is a well-known fact that Moses, while withdrawing from Egypt, took refuge in Sinai, which he knew was a safe haven with an operative Egyptian temple at Mount Serabit. Lost Temple rediscovered. The temple had been devoted to the goddess Hathor from at least as far back as the 4th dynasty reign of Pharaoh Sneferu, about 2613 to 2589 BC, who was the builder of the Dashur pyramids, and was built before the Great Giza pyramids that are attributed to his successors. However, after the time of Moses, this significant shrine was lost for over 3,000 years. The site was rediscovered by Sir W.M. Flinders Petrie and his team in 1904, who unaware found the Bible's holy mountain. The above-ground part of the temple was constructed from sandstone quarried from the mountain. It comprised a series of adjoined halls, shrines, courts, cubicles, and chambers set within a surrounding enclosure wall. Of these, the key features now unearthed are the Hall of Hathor, the main sanctuary, the Shrine of Kings, and the Portico Courts. All around are pillars and stelae denoting the Egyptian kings through the ages, and certain kings such as Thutmose III are depicted many times on standing stones and wall reliefs. In 1906, Petrie wrote, "There is no other such monument known, which makes us regret the more that it is not in better preservation." The whole of it was buried, and no one had any knowledge of it until we cleared the site. The Cave of Hathor is a rock-cut temple featuring a large upright pillar of Amenemhet III, the son-in-law of Esau and father of Dragon Queen Sebekenefru. You heard right! The pillar portrays his chief chamberlain, Kenemsu, and his seal-bearer, Ameni-Sem. Within the cave, explorers found a limestone stela of Pharaoh Ramses I, surprisingly describing himself as the ruler of all that Aten embraces, despite traditionally being reckoned as an Aten opposer by most Egyptologists. In the outer temple's courts and halls, numerous stone-carved rectangular tanks, circular basins, bench altars with recessed fronts and split-level surfaces, round tables, trays, saucers, alabaster vases, cups, and glazed plaques were found. The temple also housed scarabs, sacred ornaments, and wands made of an unidentifiable hard material, mysterious white powder. Explorers were baffled by what they were finding, but even more confounded by the discovery of a metallurgist's crucible and a considerable amount of pure white powder. Notably, among the objects found was an Amarna statue head of Moses, Akhenaten, Mother Queen Tai, with her cartouche set in the crown. Many of the alabaster vases and cups were shaped like lotus flowers. For many decades, Egyptologists have argued over why a crucible would have been necessary in a temple, while at the same time debating a mysterious substance called mushkust, which has dozens of mentions in wall and stele inscriptions, some of which have claimed that mushkust might have been copper. Many preferred the idea of turquoise, others supposed it was perhaps malachite, but they were all unsubstantiated guesses, as there were no traces of any of these materials at the site. If turquoise mining had been a primary function of the temple masters through so many dynastic periods, then one would expect to find turquoise stones not only at the site, but also in abundance within the tombs of Egypt. But such has not been the case. Another cause of wonderment were the innumerable inscribed references to bread and the traditional ayin hieroglyph for light, found in the Shrine of the Kings. Upon considerable analysis, it was proposed that the white powder found near the Egyptian temple might be remnant of copper smelting. However, archaeologist Flinders Petrie strongly refuted this claim, arguing that smelting does not produce white powder, but instead leaves a dense black slag. Moreover, there was no supply of copper ore, the main metal of Sinai, within miles of the temple, and smelting was conducted in the distant valleys. Despite some speculation that the powder was ash resulting from the burning of plants to produce alkali, no trace of plant residue was ever found. Sacred alchemical secrets. In light of the lack of alternative explanations, it was determined that the white powder and the Shem stones were undoubtedly associated with some form of sacrificial rite. However, it must be made clear that animal sacrifice was not an Egyptian practice, and there were no remnants of bones or any other foreign matter within the many tons of white powder that lay in the newly exposed storerooms. The powder was perfectly clean and quite unadulterated. Despite conducting multiple searches through the ashes, Petrie never found a fragment of bone or any other foreign object. Petrie's discovery of the alchemical workshop of Akhenaten and the pharaohs before him was no mere coincidence. This was a temple laboratory where the sacred firestone of the high-spin Shemana was produced and the white powder was created by the priests was called mishkat. This information provides an entirely new perspective on the words in Exodus. The description of Mount Sinai in Exodus chapter 19 verse 18 is now clear. The temple would have been filled with smoke and the furnace would have been roaring. This is similar to the passage in Genesis chapter 15 verse 17, where a smoking furnace and burning lamp are mentioned. The burning bush that Moses encountered was not consumed by the flames, and this can now be seen in the context of the Shem'ana furnace experiments. Exodus chapter 32 verse 20 describes how the golden calf was burnt in a Shem'ana furnace and ground to a powder. The Egyptian priests of the goddess Hathor had been working the fire for countless generations before the priests of Aten. Thutmose III, Akhenaten's great-great-grandfather, reorganized the ancient mystery schools and founded the Great White Brotherhood of the Master Craftsmen. He constructed a painted rock-cut shrine to Hathor, who was known as a Lady of the Turquoise. Serabit el-Qadim in Sinai was known for its extensive turquoise mines. As the dust of millennia settles, the alchemical workshop of Akhenaten emerges from obscurity, shedding light on the fiery mysteries of Exodus. The burning bush, the golden calf, and the sacred firestone witness a paradigm shift in understanding ancient rituals. The silence of the Egyptian temple echoes through time, leaving us with more questions than answers. What lies beneath the surface of these ancient mysteries? Join us in our quest for truth as we challenge the narratives of old and embark on a journey into the heart of Sinai, where history, religion, and alchemy collide in unexpected ways. The untold story awaits, daring us to rethink everything we thought we knew. Remember to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us what you think. Until next time.